Shubham, how are
Hello.
you?
Hello, I'm doing all right.
Good. So I think let's wait for a few minutes so that
Yeah,
all can join.
yeah, I'm totally all right about that.
I think now it's a good time to start. We have 11 people. Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So hello everyone. We're so excited to have you join us for this campus to company session. My name is Ayushi. I'm a third year communication design student, and I'll be your host for today. I'd like to take a moment to thank you all for joining the session, and also thank you Shubham for joining us today for the session. So our alumni speaker today is Subham Dutta. He is a creative professional with a background in communication design. He has over 8 years of freelance experience. Currently, he serves as the general manager at Robert Hall Preston, an entertainment company in the United Kingdom, overseeing operations across venues and leading marketing initiatives. Shubham completed a BTech HND degree from art and later pursued his progression at UCLA in UK. So Shubham, please tell us like how are you feeling today?
Well, to be honest, it's a bit cold today. It's chilly outside, and I'm all right, to be honest. Feeling good, excited about this live session, and excited to talk about. You'd be gonna ask me through this entire live session, I guess.
So Shubham, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah. Hi everyone, and I'm Subham Dutta. And as Ayushi said, I studied in Arts College of Design and Business, and I'm from the batch 2019-2022. I did BTech H&D over there in graphic design and communication design, and after that, came to the UK for my progression course and got my graduation degree in BA in graphic design. And while pursuing the course here, I stumbled across multiple places, like met people, connected, and that's how I just landed what I'm doing right now, to be honest. Other than that, that's been my last few years. Before that, I have always been keen towards this industry, specifically design and graphic design, and very specific, if I be honest, because I have been an artist, a fine artist, for a very long period of my life, like 14 years, 15 years now. Basically, ever since I've been a child, I've always used to draw, and that's what got me into it. And yeah, one thing leads to another, as they say. I just am a graphic designer now.
Yeah, I think we all have a similar story. Like we all used to draw and like create stuff, art and craft, and then that's how we landed up here.
Well, yeah, to be honest, like initially when I was a child, like to start to go to the beginnings, I would say it all started from me watching TVs and just trying to replicate all the cartoons I saw, and from there I got into illustration, and that's how I still feel that I am still an illustrator. So when I introduce myself to someone, I call myself a graphic designer, illustrator, and a photographer. Photography, I caught in the way because I loved cameras. That something intrigued me. My dad used to own a camera. Uh, of if you remember the actual film cameras I am talking about, not the DSLRs that you all are very used to right now. Not even DSLRs, it's the mirrorless cameras that you guys use right now. So I am not a very big fan of a mirrorless camera, but yeah, that's what got me into photography. But illustration, and when I was looking for career options, when I was about at my 10th and I was going to my 11th, and I was thinking, what should I do? Because I was already doing coding, I was doing website design by when I was in my class 10th, and I was like, what are the opportunities? Because I didn't want to do full-time coding. I didn't want to be an engineer, given that I really didn't want to be an engineer, a software engineer at that. Although I knew all the multiple languages, computer languages, I mean. But yeah, then I came across graphic design being a subject that is being taught. It is not just a practice, because when I say I used to use Photoshop and Illustrator for a long time now, I've been using Photoshop since Adobe CS3, and that's I have seen Adobe grow, to be honest. Change everything completely right now. Adobe has changed completely uh, the shape of design because they own it technically. They own the entire design industry and this entire marketing industry. Um, yeah, that's it. Like that's how, as I said, things lead on to things, and one after another happen.
Okay, so Shubham, let's start with why. Like, why did you decide that you want to pursue an international degree in the UK and specifically in the UK?
Right. So that's there are few pointers when I would say why I chose UK, to be honest. Um, like me choosing graphic design was a given that yeah I was gonna do graphic design, and then I had to do a progression degree. And I could have chosen Canada, or I could have gone to Australia, or anywhere in the world to get a bigger exposure to what I'm doing in, because India as a market in graphic design is huge. That's true, but um, I wanted more exposure. If that makes any sense, I wanted larger exposure to the Western world, and that was me choosing to move out of India and do something outside, but then studying in UK. So first factor being all the friends that I came along with, they all came to the UK. One reason, right? It is like tagging along together instead of like going somewhere, because it's a big move for everyone. So we were like eight of us, all my friends, same from Arts College, I would say. Eight of Arts College students who studied together as a group, and we are still a close knit group, to be honest. And I live with in the same vicinity, like with two of them. So yeah, we have been good friends for a long time now. So yeah, tagging along with friend was one option, one reason for me coming to the UK. But other than that, UK as a whole always intrigued me, and I loved the culture of the UK. I have grown watching shows on BBC, if and watching British UK shows, not American English shows. I used to watch British English shows, so that what always I liked it, like Peaky Blinder for say. Yeah, so that's me coming to the UK, just picking up. Yeah.
So, like, how do you feel that, like, a designer's life, working life, basically in India versus internationally, like, how it differs?
Good question. Like designer's life in India, designer's life in UK. Work hours wise, life in UK and work life is pretty much sorted. Although it's very, now that I've been living in the UK, I would be brutally honest about it that the weather in the UK can get to your nerves and can make you feel depressed all the way, like all the way from your home, like out here, and you have no one really much to talk to because all your friends and everyone is working, and with the weather having no sun in the play, it does get into your nerves. But work hours wise, people are pretty much chill here. Whereas in India, when I used to freelance in India, they used to expect me to reply any time of the day, and I have to be pretty much available for work anytime. Even though I was freelance, I was working for a project. I have committed them hours, but they thought that they are paying me. That means they own me, if that pretty much makes sense. That's what I think in the Indian design culture is still a little bit bad, because creativity cannot be forced out of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Like it has to come to you. It has to come to you. It will land to you, and it will happen to you. You cannot just force. There's a process to get to a step, but in that process, it needs time. And yeah, people here in UK and in the design industry, they give you that time. I think so, because they are strict with deadlines. They're very strict with deadlines, but to reach to that deadline, if you're failing to meet that deadline, that means you should quit that industry already. Because when I say that, it is a plenty enough of a deadline to explore, to have fun, to uh, unleash your creativity with that. You have pretty much great deadlines here. And in India, I don't know how it is right now in 2024, because I have not been there. How tight schedules Indian people still, like people in India still do it.
yeah. We
Pretty,
do
yeah,
it.
it's pretty chill. Pretty chill. You can tell me you are working there. I mean,
Yeah,
at least you're
we do
studying.
have like pretty tight schedule, but I think you should know how to make your boundaries between your work and personal life.
Well, that's very true. Like you first need to separate your lives, two different lives. When you are working professional, once you step out of your school life and you transition from your college life to your work life, one thing that is very important that you need to learn is how to separate two lives of yourself, or maybe three lives. You have to separate yourself in three different parts: one for family and friends, one for your personal own mental health and well-being, and the other is your professional life, where you have to separate all the time separately, and you have to be good to yourself. That's how you should manage everything together, or else either you are gonna crash, crumble down, and be depressed. That's a thing.
Yeah,
Like you just fall.
mental health is the
Yeah,
mental health is one thing like we as designers struggle a lot with.
yeah, yeah,
I believe.
yeah.
Okay, so next question I have, like, I wanted to know this, that what's that one thing that you think you should know as a student before, like, it might be anything, like, as basic.
Sorry, pardon me. What did you say?
Uh, like, what's that one thing you wish you knew earlier as a
Ah,
student, which might make a difference in your career now?
right. One thing, as a student earlier, that I'll give some credits to Arch, but during my time at Arch, in the initial years, I got a little bit of spoon fed with my assignments and stuff and learning. You know what I mean? Like later in the career, and even in UCLan, in my time in UCLan here in the UK, nothing is spoon fed to you. You are given the brief of the assignment. You are told that this is what we expect of you.
We
Uh,
don't have
yeah,
that now.
go and you go. No, as I said, like initially when like we started off, I felt like yeah, it was being spoon fed and it was so easy and this and that was easy. And then later down the line, when we're year after year, in my second year and third year, it became more gradual that yeah, my education in arts was worth it because I was so eased into UCLan. Like I didn't feel much difference. Other than that, the deadlines in UCLan were more tight and very strict. Our credits would actually go. Like people did actually lose their credits and scores because they couldn't submit by the, let's say it was midday today, they have to submit at 11:59 dot, and if they don't make it, they don't make it, they will lose their credits, 40 credits gone of them. And yeah, that was scary during my
Even we
time.
have that here.
Yeah,
Even
no,
we do have
now
that.
Arch has it. I was speaking to Archana ma'am recently, and she said that yeah, we did upgrade. Like we got stricter now because when I was there, when initially in my foundation years, our teachers did give us some later, like were very lenient, and then in my later years with Anil sir, he was very strict. He was strict with those timelines. Yeah,
Okay,
that
so
was.
Shubham, what do you think? What skills as a beginner in graphic design should have?
Right. As a beginning step of a graphic designer should be able to ideate, be able to visualize. Like when I'm speaking about something, or if you are thinking about a story, or you are listening to someone in a conversation, or maybe you are eavesdropping someone, or you are having a conversation with someone person to person. If you close your eyes, as a graphic designer, if you close your eyes, the first thing I think they should learn is to have a built a picture in their head. If you are able to build a picture in your head, later you can actually create something out of it when you're by yourself. Like that's how I usually work. Like let's say we are having a conversation now over the live, right? But if I close my eyes, I can imagine how you are sat in that office and what kind of space it would be around you, and what are the lighting conditions, where are the lights coming from. That is a picture that I'm painting in my head, back of my head. So if I can visualize that, I'd be able to use that visualization later on if I want to do something with that, like paint a picture, or maybe make a graphic out of it, or maybe draw some inspiration out of it. Let's say you go out somewhere, you go like when I do some walks around here, walk around the town, walk around the cities, when I visit different cities, I'm not just soaking in the buildings. I'm not just hanging around with my friends, just having fun, just partying around. No, not just that, but I capture those images in my head other than my just phone. I will have them backed up in my phone to have a go through again, like to verify my memory. But visualizing the things around you is the first beginner step a graphic designer should have. Once you have settled it, next skill, very important, you should be able to draw basics. Like you need that. You need to be able to draw. You cannot if you're not able to draw something like a square, a perfect square or a perfect circle, and you cannot judge it. No, you are not cut for the design because you will need to do that by yourself. I can tell you that you cannot just live off assets, and you cannot just live off online assets that you find PNG images. There's Google it and cut and paste. That's not gonna cut it because you will then end up in a local store where they just come and get you, just give you to make some printouts. The normal banner shops that you get, like local chai wala will just come to you and then they will just give you, okay, just make me a banner for my tea stall, and that's your life with your graphic design career, and that's where you are going to end if you're going to get some stuff off Google and just copy paste it.
Got it. So, according to you, the most important part in our design process is ideation and brainstorming, right?
Yep, it is. It is very important how to when I do my personal brainstorming, my creative process is to start off with a word, the main word of the brief, like in the project that got posted, the shady, if you think, I've got a very detailed, it was a very detailed project of ours, and the main word was sunscreen.
Mm-hmm.
So from sunscreen, I branched out into different word bubbles, like one leading to another, and then spreading, and then again connecting back to sunscreen. So in brainstorming should be dispersing, diverging, and then converging again, because you need to loop that back into sunscreen. And while brainstorming, you shouldn't deviate so much that you cannot come back. Right? You have to come back. You have to create that loop. That if you're going far, then you have to come back too.
Yeah,
So yeah, I had multi-chain brainstorm. That was a multi-chain brainstorming. That's how it called, because it was two focused word in that project was sunscreen and Gen Z. So we had to make them connect and again loop them back to each other. So that was a good brainstorming session I had. It took me a few days, to be honest. It is not a session, like you cannot just sit and brainstorm as much as you can. You have to let one thing about designing I've learned right now is you have to breathe. Take a step back, breathe, come back later. Work on a project for 10 hours straight, stop. Clock yourself, stop, go out, have a break, chill, forget the work completely, erase out of your head, like do not think about it at all. Come back later. Come back later. No, trust me. While I paint, right? I still paint. So I have made it. Let's say I'm drawing something and I'm straight. I am very bad with my working hours. Like I work a lot without breaks. That's what I was previously, and then I would, later on when I'm finished, right? I've finished everything, very minute details done, but I did that in 17 hours without a break. And then when I come back to that image later on, after I slept, I consider it is done, and I come back to it, I'm like, oh, that's bad. That's a mistake. Because you'll find that mistake. So instead of finding it at the end when everything is done, you should do it in between when you are doing, like, let's say 5 hours of work, and then, okay, switch, go, have a break, have a refresher, come back, and you will find mistakes 100% at a very early stage where it is correctable. And as I say, finding mistakes earlier will reduce the amounts of mistakes later down the line in the project you are doing. Yeah, that's a thing that I learned on my journey of being a graphic designer.
So, Shubham, can you walk us through your career journey, as in like what all work experience you had?
All right. Work experience wise. So, I used to be a freelancer for a long time. I'm still freelancing. I still freelance, even though I get projects. I pick up projects and some big projects from separate companies as well, other than me doing a full time job, right? I do freelance work on my free time. So I consider that as my treat to the main job I have. So the main job is a full thing, but freelance job is just a treat to jog my memory outside where I have more freedom because the freelance project I choose and pick right now. So yeah, so in India I used to be a freelancer, and after that, during just before COVID hit, I started to work with a company because they were starting a company, a manufacturing setup named AM Polymers. I became the graphic design head of theirs because I was designing everything for them. Technically, I was on a salary. When I said technically, I didn't draw any contracts. So, of course, technically, because I cannot call it a salary. It was technically a freelance project, but I was working there for 5 months, and I got paid monthly. So, given that the pay rate in India, then what I charged was really good. Right now, it has increased here in the UK. That is one big difference why I chose UK, because when I say they pay a lot for what you do, they pay a lot for what you do. They pay enough. In India, it is quite cutthroat because there's a huge competition market in India with 1.8 billion people. There is a big market, but it is very cutthroat about the pay rates. Anyways, I was deviating from my career path. I worked at AM Polymers as their graphic designer, and then after working that, I was still working with some colleges around India, designing their websites. Um, and you know what? When I was studying in Arts College, we came across this web design course. We had this web design course, and it was the same period that I landed this web design project. So I could use these projects, these freelance projects, for my assignments. I was actually using them. I'm not gonna even lie. So I had assignment, but I was also earning out of my assignments at the same time. So yeah, I worked for a few of um like six colleges. They were owned by a group. They were owned by a group. So, but they were different colleges around India. Like one was in Hyderabad, one was in Jaipur, one was in Udaipur, one Delhi, one Haryana. Separate places. So I had to cater different websites for each and every college. Yeah, I did that for a bit. I worked with that company, and after that, I moved to the UK. Initially, I thought, oh, I'm gonna to survive in the UK. You do need to work some, like part time or something. So I was looking for part time jobs, and while looking for part time jobs, I used to go to like for socializing. I used to go to pubs, clubs, meet people, go to cafes, right? Just sit and chill in the hopes that I will meet someone of my field. And when I say it works better than LinkedIn. And it is a thing here. If you go to pubs during the daytime, people from different places come, sit, and talk. So suddenly, while you are listening to a conversation, you just join them and you just give your inputs, and voila, you land a job. That's how I was landing freelance job when I was studying in the UCLan, because I couldn't do a full time job when I was in UCLan, so I was still doing freelance work. So just by socializing, I could communicate more than my LinkedIn was working. My LinkedIn profile was ready with my portfolio and everything, right? So while I was conversating and socializing and having a chill time out from my assignments and all my uni. I'd go to pubs, chill, but as well find work, if that made sense. And then there's this company that I'm working with now, Roper Hall. So they own quite a few venues around here, and I started part time as part time job. So other than being a bartender here, A graphic
Mm-hmm.
designer, a photographer, a illustrator. I was doing a lot of things at the same time. So yeah, that's how. And then what happened was, the manager, the general manager of this company, he decides to quit, and I just aimed for this directly. I was like, yeah, there's an opening, and I applied, got it. And right now I manage the marketing side of it, the managing side of it, stuff, how it's gonna run, what's gonna get posted, what events are we gonna have. There was a time when I used to just make the artworks for the people, for
Mm-hmm.
these company. Right now I plan for this company, like just leveled up in life technically.
So,
Feels good to have
how
people
this
work on.
feels like?
Huh?
How this level up feels like?
Well, it feels good to have people work under you for months. Like freedom, like I am the guy saying yes or no instead of
Mm-hmm.
me going to someone else and asking, "Is that all right?" I get the freedom to ask, like, yeah. People come to me and they ask, "Oh, is this what you asked for? So is this all right? Is this design all right?" And I get to give the feedback because end of the day they have to listen to me. I think I'm a good boss.
So Shubham, what do you think? Like, what are the soft skill that we need in a professional environment?
Soft skill, as in you mean
Hmm.
software skills or uh, all the other skills other than the hardware skills,
Yeah.
right? So what I'd say is soft skills. You need to know how to manage time. One very important soft skill. Yeah, I'd say you specifically right now because you are in a third year, right?
Yeah, in my third year.
You pretty much must have learned how to manage your time if you manage to submit your assignments in your deadlines. But as I say again, I cannot stress it enough. Time management is very, very, very important. Giving yourselves breaks are important, but exactly planning out your entire schedule ahead of time, like let's say a week ahead, you just sit and plan your schedule according to the entire week. You just plan around your days instead of going like, oh, today, tomorrow your friends called for a plan, but you don't have slot for it. Please do not go out for a plan. Stick to your plans, what you had already made before a week, right?
Hmm.
Stick to your schedule, and that you should be fine. Yeah, that's a important skill. And rest, as a graphic designer, you should know the minimum of the Adobe suite. I wouldn't say you need to always have the skill in the 3D, but 3D 3D softwares right now is just an extra trump card in your pocket, because I do know how to use 3D. Like there are easier softwares, but like Blender, Maya, Cinema 4D, or to be honest, my friends at Arch, Saransh and Piyush, to be honest, they were really good at 3D, and I did pick up with them. I was using Blender, but Saransh specifically helped me learn Cinema 4D and work around that. Then, yeah, that's how you learn with your friends, and together you grow. And he was good in 3D. So on the topic, he was good in 3D, and I was good in 2D graphics, as in Illustrator and Photoshop. It was in my ballpark, so we taught each other and cross learn. So that was the important thing. So you guys should do that as well. Like learn from your friends. Peer learning is very important, as well as learning from your teachers. Teachers will give you lectures and say you a set rule, but when you are sitting with a friend, peer learning is something. Even to date, like I learned so much from my coworkers, I cannot even explain. Like there are little things, like very little things that you just pick up through your journey. You just become a better person day to day with the process of peer learning, I believe. And coming on the softwares that one graphic designer should know basic is the Adobe Suite, a little bit of 3D. In the Adobe Suite, there's a software named in no, what was it? There's 3D mockup software that is a replacement for your mockups for Blender. You don't always need to pursue with Blender.
Dimension.
Dimensions, right? Exactly.
Mhm.
I initially started off with Dimensions, but right now I'm well versed with Blender, so I use Blender right now. So yeah, if you can do Dimensions, I think you are okay. But that is very base minimum of 3D that you need to know.
Mhm.
Quick things, just your head should be around it, and some video skills, some photography skills, some illustration skills. Basically, if you're calling gonna call yourself a graphic designer, you should have quite a few trump cards in your pocket. Like, you just cannot draw, you just cannot just make simple graphics, you just cannot do coding or like whatever. You need to have something like UI UX. There's flat graphics, there's logos, there's a lot of things. Like being a graphic designer, you have to tackle a lot of projects. If you are going to increase your portfolio, you're going to increase your CV, you're going to work with any company and any challenges, you have to do a lot of stuff. Right now, while working with this company in Roper Hall, I do have to tackle with all of these together. But given that I was already knowing all of these, uh,
Mhm.
so it is useful for me. That's why I said, like, knowing more is never going to hurt you. Knowing
Mhm.
less is going to hurt you. So just explore everything. Eat a little bit of pie from each and every flavor.
So, Shubham, like how important it is to like specialize in a one thing, or it is useful to be a journalist. Like you should know everything, or maybe you should specialize in just
Yeah,
one thing.
yeah. So creating your own niche. Now here we come. So, as I said, you should know everything.
Mhm.
Jack of trades, all trades, and master of none. It shouldn't be the case. You should know all the things, but you should master one of your crafts. You should have your grow your own style. Like working for a long time, I have created my own style. There's a specific way I create my designs. There's a specific fonts I usually go for. There's a specific colors I usually would go for my personal work, not for the uh, people, not for the people I'm
Mhm.
working, but when I'm doing my personal work, I'll have a special touch to it, and it will create a distinct difference between anyone else and me, my peers and me. There should be a difference. So creating your niche, like understanding your niche, is an important thing. So if you're good in Photoshop, or let's say you're good in Illustrator, be the best in Illustrator, be the best
Mhm.
illustrator possible, right? But do not miss out while being the best in Illustrator. Do not miss out Photoshop or After Effects or Premiere Pro. You need to know them, but you need to
Mhm.
do that as well. Or let's say you're a good logo designer, be the best logo ideator or best logo designer, but you should not miss out flat graphics, or you should not miss out 3D graphics, or you should not miss
Mhm.
out poster creation or something. If you
Mhm.
are doing logos, you can be the best logo designer, but also you can be a good business card maker, if it that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question that just came to my mind.
Yeah.
How to master detachment? Because, like, as in your style doesn't work for every brand, right?
Yeah,
So you
that's
have
right.
to adapt their style to work. So how to do that?
Detachment, right? When I was talking about creating your own niche, having your
Mhm.
own style, you also need to know that should be a switch in your head. You should be able to flick, because while creating your own style, you fall in love with your own self. You become a little bit of narcissistic. You become very obsessed with your own self, because let's say when you'll be exploring your own colors, well, you'll be
Mhm.
creating a brand for yourself, you'll be exploring your favorite colors, favorite style, favorite brushes, favorite brush strokes, favorite line widths. There are a lot of things that you gonna pick up, and then suddenly you start working in a company, or you get hired by a company because they like the style of your work, or maybe your work ethic, or anyhow you just
Mhm.
landed a job and you just realize that, oh, this is not really my style. But then what you do is to flick that switch off. You have to stop loving while working for a different company. You have to love that company now,
Mhm.
because before this you are working for yourself. While creating your own niche, you are working for yourself. You are not just doing anything. You're working for. You have to keep that in mind. So detachment for me has been really easy because I consider like this, that if I'm creating something for myself, I'm working for myself, I would love myself, I would empathize with myself, I would understand myself, and that hence my own style. If I'm working for someone else, I'm gonna empathize with them, I'm gonna empathize with their style, I'm gonna understand them, what they need, and gonna cater them. So creating a detachment is all about loving what you are gonna do. It's not about loving yourself, it is not gonna loving your work, but loving who you are working with, empathizing with who you are working with. Yeah.
So,
You can
like,
create a
how does it work when you work when you're working for, like, say, two, three clients at once? So, how does this work then?
right. So picking up one too many jobs, you said.
Yeah,
Like
especially
it's a good thing.
freelance.
Yeah, especially in freelance. So creating a deeper sense of connection with a company only will make sense to you if you are charging them too much. I am going to be very honest about it. You
Yeah.
are going to cater them, but at a deeper level, if you're charging them enough, right? If you're
Mm-hmm.
charging them enough, spend your own time to empathize with them and dedicate that amount of time. As I said, time management, right? So let's say divide your time schedule from 9 to 11. I'm going to work with company A. 11 to 12, I'm going to work for company B. From 11 to 3, I'll be working with company C, correct? So during that first 2 hours of my day, of my work day, I'm going to be feeling for them, correct? Now that I have switched, it's in my next schedule. Like in your school, you have learned one thing, like there were different periods. You did maths, English, Hindi, and whatever like that, right? So in the English class, you are not thinking about the maths period. Ah, yeah. In
Yeah.
the Hindi period, you are not thinking about maths calculation again. You
Yeah.
detach. So, during the discussion earlier, as I said, you need to create a schedule for yourself and stick to them. It means while you have created a schedule of work, separating separate hours for dedicating different hours for different projects or different aspects of your life, you should stick to those hours and just create a sense of attachment to them. Because when you are working for the first 2 hours, you are thinking about company A. While working for the next 2 hours, you are thinking only about company B and not about it. So even the planning the breaks, you are thinking about yourself, not the work. That what helps you create a detachment with the work and connect to your personal life. So treat everything according to the time and you should be all right. So time management is not just meeting the deadline. Time management is sticking and abiding and respecting time and dedicating each and everything to their own specific zones and specific time slots. That's how it works. Yeah.
So we have a last question here. So how can
Yeah.
one start freelancing?
How can one start freelancing?
Hmm.
Basic step of freelance and creating a name for yourself is create some projects for yourself. First, work for yourself. Work for yourself. Create some projects. Pick up some briefs online, or just look for some briefs around your college, or just work for it. Create some projects. What will that do? That will create you a portfolio, a very small precise portfolio, not very much. You just need 5 projects. To have a good portfolio, you just need 5 projects, and those 5 projects need to be solid enough to sell yourself, because those projects you have worked and given your heart and soul, and you have worked for your own self. And what are you getting paid for that? You are getting paid in a form of job later down the line. Other than your assignments, that's separate. You can showcase your assignments in your portfolio, but it is good to have your own personal projects in your portfolio. So how to start a freelance, become a freelancer, is have a portfolio, and then once you have that, post it in social media, connect with people, talk with people. You just need to be more chatty. To land a job in 2024, you just need to be little bit more chatty. If you just stay in yourself and do not showcase your work anywhere, like Arch is a good platform to showcase your work, and I have through and through during my time at Arch, they used to post our work. That does give you an exposure, like you don't understand, but even when my video got posted at the Arch Art page, um, I gained about 15 more followers. 15 more followers is equals to 15 more potential jobs in the future, or 15 more potential connections related to my field, right? Because they are all designers that followed me. So if they like my work, they can approach me because there's a collaborate button on my profile. Instagram is a good thing that you can freelance from because you can promote your work through Instagram. Next is just have a LinkedIn profile ready at hand, because through LinkedIn many people actually pick graphic designers and this stuff, and over LinkedIn you will have some freelance jobs. You can search for jobs on LinkedIn or Indeed or likewise. You freelancer.com still doesn't work that good, but if you can not have many gigs, it's not, you are not going to be promoted by freelance websites. It's a hard said truth. Like if you're going to post yourself at freelancer.com, let's say, you need to have at least 10 gigs, good 10 gigs with ratings to make sure that website promotes now, because that website is far gone. uh, Not a new freelancer can join those websites and become a good freelancer and have good income through it. So right now the only ways are go out, chat with people, and pick your habitat, pick and choose who you hang out with. Like that will create a huge difference. I have learned that because people I hang out with are all like-minded and everyone is well connected, and that's how it works. That's how you have to be a freelancer.
Okay, so any final advice for our students?
Well, it's not easy to be a designer. My final advice is keep your calm. Not everything happens when you want it to happen. It will land. I don't know if you would relate to these words, but I relate to these words a lot. These are not really vague. Things happen when they need to happen, and you need to act. Because when you're looking for a job, you might not land it. When you're looking for assignment to be finished, it will not happen. When you're looking for a creativity to strike in, it will not strike you. So when you're looking for it, it's not gonna happen. It is gonna happen when it needs to happen. That is my only advice. Do not panic. Keep your calm. You will reach the goal finally, somehow. You'll get
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it was a good session. I learned a lot
Yep.
from you, and even like our students learned a lot from you. I hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah. Also, please stay connected with Arch for future events. We would love to host you again at like any series or event here in India as well.
Yeah, I would totally be glad to be connected because I have always been connected to Arch. Recently, I changed my numbers, and even though that got notified to Archana ma'am recently, she called me up, had a good chat with her. It felt good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. So I think that's all for today.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. It was good chatting with you. It was a
Yeah,
good synchronized feel.
it was great learning from you. Also, like the most of the question I asked was from directly from my mind that came through the chat.
Ah, fair enough.
Yeah. So yeah,
Thank
thank you, Shubham.
thank you. Thank you
Let's
very
stay
much.
connected and like have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Stay connected.
Okay,
Bye
bye
bye.
bye.